guys, Tactic Pants coming back at you. We're checking out the super cool Gerber Crucial, and it really is pretty dope overall. Let's go through the features and ergonomics, usability, stuff like that, and my overall rating at the end in no particular specific order, because that's kind of how I roll at this point. Let me know what you think of the brown and green in the comments. If you guys like that, maybe don't. You don't have to comment down in the section. I can read your guys' minds. You know that by now. Pretty good at it. The Gerber Crucial is made with 3 CR13 MOV stainless steel inserts. So those aren't going to be rusting anytime soon. The blade is 440A steel, and you have aluminum handle scales here with Torx bits for your hardware. Alrighty, so that should be most of the materials and stuff like that. You can see here we have a little lock icon. All the outside tools, except for the notable exception of the bottle opener / carabiner thing, all of them lock and are one-handed openable. So the whole theme of this multi-tool is you just have the bare bones of what you need, all right? So you're working with a one-hand accessible knife blade. All right, it's about 2 inches long. You have about a third, maybe a little bit more of a serrated portion, and the rest is a straight edge. And I'll tell you what, I'll be totally honest, I have not had a lot of experience with the 440A stainless steel, but it has impressed the heck out of me after looking on the internet and people saying it's pretty much crap for edge retention. You'll roll your edge, you'll dent it. You know, it's just not a great blade steel. It's done pretty dang good in my testing. I've cut boxes and boxes and boxes with it. Lots of boxing. And cut some wood with it. Carved some wood and stuff with it. And it still had a hair shaving edge on it after I did all of that in succession. So that's pretty excellent there. One thing to note, the blade stock is really thick on this. I mean, it is ridiculously thick. Thick with 2 C's, I might even say. Really nice strength there. Lockup is pretty good. You have a little bit of play up and down and a little bit side to side, but on a multi-tool blade, that's pretty good. Your liner lock goes almost all the way to the right. That's all right. Locks up pretty good. And it is super smooth. After I added a little bit of firearm lubricant to this, it was really scratchy and kind of metal on metal before that. But now it is one-handed flickable. There we go. Get it on camera. Moving on now, we have the carabiner, which is kind of weird looking because it is a reverse. Instead of the carabiner being, how am I trying to say? Instead of you being able to clip it the regular way, it's kind of the opposite. You have to take your item here and push the carabiner into it and then pull it back on. It works totally fine. You can one-handed use it, but I don't see why they put this on a tool that you only need the essentials for, because this isn't really essential for anyone day to day. You don't need a bottle opener. Would have been really nice to use this space to get us a good old pair of skizzers right where this is, because people use those every day. So you'd have the knife and your scissors in the same place, so your cutting implements would be self-contained in the one handle side. Moving along, we have a pocket clip with 2 separate Torx heads holding it on. And one thing I've learned over the years and years that I've carried pocket knives is that the 2 screws, they work. I have a lot of knives that just have 2 screws holding the pocket clip, and they work fine. But when those screws loosen up, you'll get quite a bit of wiggle. And if you have something like a Spyderco or, a Cold Steel, any number of other knives where they use 3 different Torx bits or 3 different screws holding them in, they tend to come loose a lot less often. Moving on to this other side, we have a one-handed openable flathead driver, and that is not very long. Okay, that shank is super short compared to the overall size of this tool, but there are trade-offs, as with anything, and with this multi-tool, the trade-off is that it locks, okay? So you have a liner locking mechanism. You can see it lines up just about perfectly right where you want it to be for a liner lock. You just catch your thumb on that little piece, or you can use your fingernail and flick it up, deploy it, get a nice solid snap, and this is rock solid lockup. It's not going anywhere. You can use this as a pry tool, scraping tool, obviously as a flathead screwdriver. That all works great. And then on the other side here, and to one hand open this, you have to open the one side and then kind of catch your thumbnail under the Phillips head driver. There you go. Flip the flathead back in, and now you have your two-dimensional Phillips. This is kind of a little bit disappointing to me because of, I mean, it works, don't get me wrong. I've taken off some electrical light socket covers with this. I've tested it on a couple of screws and stuff just for review purposes, and it definitely works, but I really prefer the three-dimensional where they're a big beefy driver and there's no way you're going to bend them. And this one also has rock solid lockup, although the liner lock is all the way to the side, but it's still easily one-handed accessible, can't speak, and one-hand closable. So that's all the stuff on the outside. That's all cool. If you want to use this for your belt loop instead of using the pocket clip, that's cool. Now to the inside, which is the only thing on this tool that is not one-handed accessible. And I haven't had this tool for very long, granted, and I bought it used. Actually picked it up for 15 bucks on eBay in like new condition, pretty smoking deal. New, these run you about 32, 33 bucks on Amazon. I didn't check eBay, probably about the same. I believe that's for the blue color. For the green and brown, they're going to charge you a little bit more just because of colors. So this is what I really like about this Gerber Crucial multi-tool, is that it has an innovative shape. And I know that kind of sounds weird, especially to a lot of people who are traditionalists, like mainly me, but there's no spring tension here. They're not spring-loaded pliers. You don't have overlapping pliers. They come to, or your wire cutters, they do not overlap, so they just come to a point and that's it. So those didn't work super excellent in my testing. If you look, try and get to focus, back here near the hole there's a little bit of air. So if you're cutting anything really fine, use the front of those wire cutters, you should be all right. The bolt grabbers, they work awesome. They work really good. And of course, being a needle nose plier, the tip is very much precise. Get it to focus there. Still not focusing. That's all right. Very much precise. And look at how thin they are. I would grab a Leatherman to compare it to, but they are very thin compared to other medium-duty multi-tool pliers, which is what I put this as. Everyday carry in the pocket is pretty much medium duty. You're not going to carry some heavy duty huge Leatherman or Gerber every day most of the time, unless it's for like a work purpose. I carry a Leatherman Super Tool 300 every day. It's a huge freaking piece of stainless steel, but I use it for work all the time. So if it's a frequent use tool, I would get something a little bit thicker. Pliers work great. All the stuff there, pivot's nice and smooth. Opening on this is a little bit stiff, but I imagine with time it'd get worked in. And I believe that's it for this Gerber Crucial review. Pretty cool.